Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with
Corey.
KJ.
And Mike.
What was that?
He's very loud. It burst my eardrum.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
Oh, very sarcastic.
Okay.
He might have heard himself, actually. We know Mike's loud.
That's fair.
That's true.
All right. So this week, we're going to be talking about Andor, which is the newest Star Wars show that came out back in, I believe it was November, ended it in December.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. But it was 12 episodes. They released 3 at once when it first came out.
That's all Corey watched.
Yeah.
No, I watched 11 and a quarter.
I think he watched those. I don't even know if he watched those 3 when it first came out. He
I
probably
watched
was just
two of the 3.
Yeah,
And
you had to
then
get to, if you would have got to the third one, because that's what I did. I binged the first 3, and then once I got through the first 3, I was just like, oh, well, now I'm kind of interested. Where's it going to keep going? Where's it going to keep going?
Now, for me, the show literally was worthless until he got arrested.
See, I hated when he got arrested.
Well,
For that first episode where he gets arrested is so... Ugh.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I'm just saying, once he was in jail...
Once he was in jail, it was
okay,
great.
so when he gets arrested on, like, the weird planet, right?
Yeah, where he's on vacation, he's a tourist.
Right.
Yeah, that whole episode was blah. But as soon as he got in jail, loved it.
Yeah.
Like that whole everything and
like the escape.
Who is it? Andy
Serkis
is fantastic. And I didn't think he was going to be because I was just like, it's him again. I'm going to get the same performance as I usually see. I thought he was great in it. I thought
he was going to be like Golem?
No. I just mean like the same kind of performance that you kind of see, like where he's in, like he was in, what was it? Not Captain
Black Panther.
He's great in Black Panther.
Yeah, I agree. But if you look at other movies that he's been in where he's not doing like the CGI, I'm not a giant fan of his.
What other movies?
There's been a bunch. I don't remember off the top of my head. I just saw him in this and I was thinking, is it going to be that good? And it was. I was impressed. I got to see his character arc of being the person that's running the show.
What did they call it when they're like on station or on... You know what I mean? When they had to stand and...
On, not protocol.
On point?
No. Damn it, Corey.
I know. It's been bugging me.
It is protocol.
Is it protocol? On protocol? Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Right.
Okay. I wanted to say that in Smeagol's voice when you said it, but I couldn't think what it was. So.
All right. My question is, what are they building?
It's the Death Star. So you didn't see the after credit scene, did you?
No, I didn't know there was one.
Episode 12, there's an after-credit scene where it shows the Death Star being made, and it shows those fixer bot things, basically...
okay, so those are like legs to bots that make the Death Star.
No. It's part of the Death Star. It's part of the beam that destroys everything, and that's what they're building. They're building parts to... Basically, they're not solar panels, but it's the only thing I can think of what to call them. The solar panel pieces,
like deflector.
Yeah, that's going to then shoot out the laser. That's what they're building.
The most important part of this giant Death Star, they're using
prisoners,
slave labor to
yes,
make.
And well, they're doing that for a reason, though. They're doing that because they can't let obviously anybody know what they're doing,
and that's why they never leave.
Correct.
It's like Hotel California.
Oh, okay.
You never leave.
All right.
I just found Mike to sing, and I knew that was
is that what it was?
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, they're trying
song.
to get all those pieces made and not have anybody know about it. And then if anybody eventually catches on, obviously they murder.
I thought there were probots. I thought it was like the legs of the probots.
Nope. Yeah. So like again, it shows it at the after credit scene, and it's funny, I didn't look for an after-credit scene any of these episodes, but when I got to the season finale, I was just like, well, let's see what's there. And hit fast forward, and I was like, oh, what is this?
So there could be after-credit scenes the whole way through?
No, I checked after that one. Like, I Googled it and went, is there after-credit scenes? And they're like, nope, but it's only on this one, which is not something that Star Wars normally does, which is why no one was expecting it. It's not that long.
It's in the Disney universe now, so
correct. So Marvel
hide shit.
Yeah. But it's not really that hidden because we all kind of expect it now because of Marvel.
Didn't know.
Well, either did I until like I just randomly was like, let's check. But yes, that's what those pieces are. That's why it's important because obviously when they broke out of that prison, they ended up delaying the Death Star. So literally it has an overreaching effect on everything that happened with the Empire because if they don't have those pieces, they can't finish the Death Star and their project. So Andor has a direct
I feel like it's not
impact.
hard for them to find 500 more people
It's
that they can
5,000.
5,000 people they can enslave.
Sure, but this was that people
Here's
that
a
were
better
doing
question. Why are they using slave labor opposed to just droids, which you could,
that.
The
That I don't
droids
have
are
an answer for.
expensive, I'm sure.
so
They
the
have
Empire can't afford
Did you not
them?
see how many credits they stole? And that was just from that one place.
Well, they're expensive because you have to like build a shit ton just to make one specific part.
Dude, I'm pretty sure the Empire could do it.
They're definitely rich, and I understand the Death Star costs a lot of credits, but they have it because obviously they're taxing everybody.
There's literally no way they couldn't afford the droids needed to do that. The Separatist army built an entire army of droids. There's no way the Empire, which controls the whole galaxy, couldn't.
I think you would still need some manpower, though. Not just
like
droids.
you would need people to like manage the factory floor, but the droids would be doing all the work.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it would be too easy to do it that way. So this is just the justifying for the story.
The Empire is fairly well known for using slave labor. Like, look, the Wookiees built a lot of the stuff too.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not arguing that they use slave labor.
He's
I'm
arguing
arguing that it's stupid that they do.
Yeah, that they're dumb. Because if you've got the money and you can just get it done without slave labor, so you don't have to worry about them or.
Well, I don't think they're
them.
worried about it. I think they're just
they're definitely worried about this one.
What's the most cost-effective way to?
Do you think they really care about cost when they go around blowing up planets eventually?
Yes, because they still have to get the money through like the Senate.
Well, they get a lot of money through taxing everybody.
Right, but it all still goes through the Senate.
Oh, right now it does.
Yeah, but
until
he
he gets
is
the Death
the
Star
Senate.
complete. He is.
I know you say that, but I mean,
that's what he says.
This show in particular shows kind of like the inner workings of the Empire that you don't really see. Like, there still is a Senate. Granted, most of the senators don't give a shit. Like, whenever Mon Mothma is having her speech against, like, Empire overreach, a lot of the senators don't care. But there are still senators that are speaking out against Empire overreach. And I'm sure a trillion credit Death Star that nobody knows about is still going to need to be funded somehow.
Sure.
So slave labor is cheaper.
That's probably somewhat accurate, but the only reason there's a Senate right now is because the Death Star isn't functional. At the point that there's a Death Star...
Well, true. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have to fund it.
Sure. But I also am wondering...
Well, yeah, but they literally funded the clone army creation. If they could fund that, they should be able to fund droids.
To build a Death Star that nobody knows about?
Yeah.
But they're already doing that with slave labor.
So you're going to have like probably a Senate appropriations committee.
No, I mean, but how did they, Sidious, get the clone army funded? That wasn't approved in the Senate.
Well, I'm sure it was to fight the CIS.
I know, but my point is it was funded somehow, but we don't know how. So he must have resources.
I'm also curious why you think it's potentially more expensive than slave labor. If you had 5,000 droids, like they have 5,000 people doing this right now, slaves, you think that's more expensive than keeping 5,000 people there and fed and
Can't
all
be that much.
stuff?
I mean, Anakin built a droid, and he was a slave.
True, but you have to power the droids, you have to maintain the droids, you have to build them, you have to resource out to build them. I'm sure it is considerably less expensive to have a slave labor force than it is to have a droid force.
I will say with the slave labor force, though, they always have new people coming in. Because obviously when they arrested Andor, and then when they then changed their mind after Andor and them did that robbery, and then they started increasing everybody's sentence, and then for
like
this
with
particular
droids,
one,
you have to
not
have
letting anybody go.
You have to have a crew that knows how to repair them. Like with a jail, the people that run the jail could have just no knowledge of anything. They just say, "Hey, make these people do this thing and make sure they don't get out."
So what I'm hearing is that you're pro-slavery and we're pro-droid.
I'm not saying I'm pro-slavery. I'm saying it's cheaper.
He sees
it makes sense.
the money.
Oh my god.
I'm not
I
the
think you made
Empire.
it worse.
I'm not the Empire.
He better get canceled for that shit.
Oh, well, so last time
If
he wanted
only
to,
somebody had thought of that argument, Mike, way back when.
last week he wanted a race war. He wanted to bring all the races
That's
together
true,
and
yeah.
do a war, and now he's talking about the benefits of slavery.
I don't know if I could
All
be in the same room with him.
That's fine.
All right, so what did we think about Andor's character in general? Because throughout it, I had moments of like really liking the character, and then other moments of being like, "God, fuck this guy."
Well, same here. And my biggest gripe about this show is it's a show that I understand they were really trying to tell the other stuff, like the behind the scenes, what's going on with the Empire.
Without anything to do with Jedis.
Right.
Which was very interesting.
Which I'm
to me.
fine with. I just don't care enough about Andor's character. I loved Rogue One. Having said that, I didn't want to see any of the the background of any of the characters in Rogue One.
See,
It was a good standalone, and I was fine with it.
if I watched that movie, I agree with you. But then watching this, it was very interesting to see all those, at least for me, all the inner workings of what's going on with the Empire. It was very interesting to see how the basically rebellion kind of started and get going.
Right, you get to see a background of like how the rebellion actually gets funded, which I thought was really cool. Like Mon Mothma
but
having
you don't
to
care
work
about
with
Andor, though. That's my point. Andor is not the reason why you like this show. It's all the other stuff you get to see.
So no, like I said, I liked parts of Andor, but he plays a big piece in the other parts that we get to see. Without him, you don't have those.
I mean, you could easily have all those without Andor.
Well, one, they wouldn't have gotten all the money because
Why?
they were already a man down. He was about to cancel it.
Okay.
Without Andor.
I understand
So you
what
weren't
you're
going to get the money.
Yeah.
And then you weren't going to get the fact that the Death Star was delayed.
But my point is you easily could have all those things without writing Andor into the story. All of those things could happen with new characters, and Andor could have
But
not.
Andor is the character from Rogue One.
Sure,
that's
but
in part of
why
the movie.
why not have a character from Solo then?
Do you have a problem with this character or just how this character
I just don't like the character.
Hang on. How the character is presented in the show. So if he was
no,
presented in a different way...
Let me put it this way. The first 3 episodes were boring, and I did not care about his character at all. I didn't really start caring about his character till he got arrested and was in prison. And even then, I only cared about him because of his interaction with better characters. Like him and Andy Serkis.
So you didn't care about his character development? Because that's exactly...
Not really. Can you tell me anything about his backstory?
Yeah, that he was a kid on that planet.
Yeah, what was his race?
Whatever that...
Because we got a bunch of backstory about his people and how they were, like, naturists, and I can't tell you anything about them because it was so forgettable.
Well, they were just showing you his background and why he was looking for his sister, because he left her. So
I honestly, until you just said he was looking for his sister, I forgot
That's
about her.
the reason that he kills the people in the first episode.
I understand. Do you hear anything about it the rest of the series?
Yes.
About him looking for his sister?
Yes.
When
his mom, or his surrogate mom, tells him to stop looking for her, to move on.
Isn't that in the first 2 or 3 episodes?
No, that's in episode 8.
Yeah, when he comes back and tells him that she's not going with him.
Yeah, he wants to leave. She eventually says no. He leaves.
That's
anyway.
how little I cared about his story. I probably just blanked all that stuff out.
I didn't mind his story. He just had moments of a character. I just didn't care about his actions. It didn't feel like he had an arc, but sometimes his arc went a different way that didn't really make sense for what they seemed to be trying to go for. So I had more of a problem with that. I thought his performance as that character was fine, especially in some of the scenes. I'll also say, who's the guy who has a wig that is basically the person that's funding everything? I don't... Lutheran? Is that his name?
Skarsgård?
Luther, yeah.
Yeah, Luther.
I think his name might just be Luther.
It can't just be Luther. That's not very Star Warsy.
Luther Kai.
Luther Kai. It's Luthen.
Luthen, okay.
That's Star Warsy.
Yeah, very Star Wars.
Oh, it ends in an N.
Yeah.
Luthen. Ooh.
That scene where he's on the walkway and he's yelling at the guy from the Empire who is like his inside spy.
The ISB guy, yeah.
Is a phenomenal scene. Like, his character through most of the thing was kind of wishy-washy to me. Like, his performance wasn't overly great. He had a couple scenes that I really liked, but that one there, when he's standing there and he's talking to him about everything, like what has he sacrificed, and he goes off on it, was tremendous.
Luthen was like one of the few things I really liked about the series. I thought his character had enough like he was mysterious and was intriguing to watch, and even his interactions with like Mon Mothma. But it's like the fact that he's basically calling the shots.
Yeah.
Which you would think Mon Mothma, like knowing the history of Star Wars, you'd be like, oh, Mon Mothma, she must be the one in charge. But it's really this guy, this antique dealer we don't really know much about. So it was intriguing.
There's talk about, by the way, him being an actual Jedi.
So I kind of got
Jedi.
that feeling too.
And because he has the crystal, his necklace crystal.
Is that a kyber crystal?
Is a kyber crystal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's talk about him.
I thought he called it something else when he gave it to him.
I thought he did too, but it's a crystal.
Oh, okay. It looked like one, but at the same time, I thought he called it something completely different. So
there's talk about him potentially being like a fallen Jedi, and that's why he's starting.
I think he just called it a crystal of Ilum.
Yeah, something like that.
It would explain like there's a scene in like the 11th episode where Star Destroyer is like right on him, and he like smokes a couple ties and escapes.
Well, he does it with like lightsaber looking things too.
Yeah.
So I could see people making that connection pretty good. But yeah, that scene's great too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Also, the one where he hears that they pulled off the robbery and he walks to the back and like breaks out in that smile and that little laugh was a great scene too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did we think about? Well, what did you think of Luthen and Andor?
Yeah, he was, like you said, he's probably one of the most interesting characters.
Which one?
Luthen.
Okay. Well, I said Luthen and Andor. So
Andor.
Sure.
Okay. I liked Andor as a character. I think that you saw a lot of character development. Like you see him mostly concerned about himself and not really concerned about the people around him.
The exact same thing that he ends with too, because he literally meets Luthen on the ship at the very end in episode 12. And says,
spoilers.
Well, screw you. Watch the show. Kill me or turn me in. Like, isn't that still almost the exact same character?
No, kill me or take me in.
Yeah, to me, maybe I read that as take me in, not take me into the rebellion. But
yeah, take me into the rebellion.
Like, take me into your arms.
Yeah, pretty
Hold
much.
me. My mom died. Hold me.
Yeah, because over the series, he has started to have more feeling towards the rebellion after see all these people at the jail like being
that's my point. His arc didn't start until he got arrested.
Yeah.
So the first half of the series,
he did everything,
wasn't important really.
Everything he needed, like he got everything he wanted. He did the job. He got his 4,000 or 400,000 credits. He was just going to try to live and be away from the Empire.
He was convinced, like, the Empire can do their thing. I'll do mine.
Yeah.
And we won't. And then he realized, they're literally killing people, not giving them a chance.
Killing people just to keep a secret.
Right.
Not only keeping them
That's
in
when
jail
he became
longer.
a rebel and not just a state-of-the guy. That's the only character development I saw at all, and it happened in about 20 minutes of an episode.
Well, you see it later after that, too.
Exactly, but I'm just saying
start.
his entire change occurred in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was more or less self-centered. And I think that's the point that the other people in the town that he basically had lived in were saying, is that he's very focused on himself and what he can do and not really looking at the consequences to his actions. I was a little bit disappointed that he never heard his mom's, quote-unquote, speech from the droid. When she was telling everybody in the town to basically fight back against the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he didn't hear, or at least it didn't show that he heard or saw any of that.
He was overlooking the whole thing. He was up in that.
No, he was at that point, he was already in the hotel trying to get the girl. By the time that started airing. Because the Empire was starting to climb up that tower to see if he was there. So it's a little bit disappointing he didn't get to see that, but technically I guess that hologram will still be inside the droid if he ever goes back and sees it for season 2. And I have to assume there's going to be a season 2. Like, for most people,
I think it's already been renewed.
I didn't see that, but for most people, this is one of the best things Star Wars has done since like the original movies and Mandalorian.
Well, that's wrong, but that's okay.
When I first saw the Imperial security droid, I thought that was going to be the start of...
I know. Wait, what? You thought it was going to be what?
The start of his, like, droid friend there.
Oh, yeah. The one from
Is
Rogue
that
One.
his
from Rogue
friend?
One.
Isn't it the blind guy's friend?
No,
it's not the blind
his
guy's
co-pilot, Andor's co-pilot is an Imperial security droid.
Okay.
It's his co-pilot, though.
IS
I couldn't remember. Yeah,
something.
I think maybe they were trying to hint at that, and then it grabbed him by the throat and started
Oh,
choking
for sure,
the shit out of him.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, here it is. Like somehow he's gonna like reprogram it. I thought that would be part of the show, but
Yep.
it's kind of just like a foreshadowing.
Probably, it's foreshadowing. It might
Yep.
even be the same droid later on. Like
There's so many.
I know, but it might be a cool thing to be like, I choked you once.
What does the guy say? Like, hang on to him, and then he hangs him
he-
instead? Yeah.
Hang on to him. He's
He
like, that's
said,
not what
"Hang
he
on."
meant.
He said, "Hang on."
He meant look after me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about the action scenes? Because there were quite a few of them. They weren't like big battles or anything like that, but there were battle scenes throughout the whole show. How did we feel about it? Like we only really got like ship-wise, like 2 or 3 that really had anything going on. Like so most of any of the battles that happened were hand-to-hand or gunshots or whatever.
There's really only 2 scenes that stick out to me as being exciting action scenes, and it's the ship battle with, I mean, it's short,
Luthen.
but where Luthen smokes those guys, and then it's them overtaking the prison.
Well, what about well, sure, but then there's also the battle at the funeral.
Funeral.
Well, maybe you didn't get there. It's the last episode
Oh,
where
then I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So they're doing a funeral for his mom, and
Yeah.
then it becomes a riot against them
Yeah,
versus
that
the
makes
Empire.
sense. Okay.
And
Anyway,
then there's also when they were doing the
heist.
robbing. Yeah, the heist.
I mean, that wasn't much of a battle, though.
No, but
They
I mean,
literally were like,
gunshot.
"Hey, drop your weapons."
Well,
and like,
I meant
okay.
when the other people came in.
They
started
fought
shooting.
him.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of Empire guards,
and they
that came
die
in.
a few times. A few of them die.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting.
Also, by the way, the first 2 people that die, the black guys. Like, when they have a whole team, and it's a bunch of white people and Andor, and then the 2 black guys, first 2 people that they got shot.
That's Disney for you.
That's
Yeah.
well, they weren't Jews. They were Jews, I'd say that's Disney for you.
That's true.
But
It's like
no,
1940s
that's true.
Disney,
Yep.
though.
Pretty sure Walt Disney hated more than just the Jews.
He definitely hated
know-
the Jews, though.
Historically speaking, when somebody's got a problem with the Jews, they got a problem with other people too. So
All right, so what did we...
Gypsies.
Yeah. Do you know the word gyp isn't, like, you shouldn't use the word gyp, by the way? Because it's about
offensive.
gypsies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're getting gypped.
Yeah, that's a derogatory term for gypsies.
Okay.
Didn't know that. Like all through growing up, I just thought it was.
Have you
that's
ever
the word
met
you
a
use.
gypsy?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, there are gypsies out there.
Where?
Dude, I could. We live in
Armenia?
Maine. I could name you like probably 15 different demographics that don't live in Maine.
Doubt.
White people. No white people here in Maine.
None.
Yeah.
No.
Very diverse here.
Yeah, very, very diverse.
Corey, you're the same color as the wall.
What? I'm clear.
All right, so what did we think about the other supporting characters? What did we think about his mom? What did we think about the rebels that helped with the heist? What did we think about those people?
There was a bunch of characters in the show that didn't add a lot to the show. I still don't understand what the lead security guard has anything to do with anything.
I was getting there. I was trying to ask
He
about
saves.
those.
He saves
it's-
the girl at the end.
it's
Like, is that
fucking
his?
awful.
Is that his only redeeming quality for
That's
the whole
not even
show?
a redeeming quality. He's been stalking her for months.
Okay, not redeeming quality. Is that the only reason to have his storyline
Dude,
go the
his
whole show?
story since episode 1 fucking sucked. He was the worst part of this show. I fucking hated his character. I hated his story. I hated everything with him and his mom.
His
I
mom
hated
is
everything
weird.
with the blue milk again, just so they could add it in there while he's eating his cereal.
Right.
I
That's all he has.
hated
Blue
it.
milk and Captain Crunch or
Yeah,
something.
or
like
it
that.
looked like Cocoa Pebbles, but
Is that what it is?
that's what it looked like.
Cocoa Crunch.
Cocoa
Maybe
Crunch.
they've invented
Blue
a new
milk.
A new one.
The Disney marketing campaign was ready to go on that one.
Yeah, it's so I hated his character. It
Death
literally
Star
added
balls.
nothing
I
to
think
it.
I can count the number of characters, supporting or otherwise, in this show that I gave a damn about on one hand. You have Mon
Luthen?
Mothma,
Mon Mothma,
Luthen.
yeah.
I'll throw Andor on there
Andor.
because the second half I liked him more.
Andy, whatever.
Who?
Andy Sudeikis, not Sudeikis.
Andy Serkis.
Serkis.
And then I don't even know if there's a fifth.
So what about the girl that he saves in the hotel?
I don't even.
She's the one that they kidnap and then put that little apparatus on her head and they torture her forever.
I don't know. Maybe Is that the last episode?
No, I mean she's through the whole thing. She's the girl that.
The one he knew from his hometown.
Hometown, yeah. It's not home planet, but hometown.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't care about her.
Oh, I see. I cared about her.
Well, anyway, so four. You
didn't care about his mom?
I don't like that actress. She's in a bunch of stuff, and she drives me nuts.
I thought she was fine.
Yeah,
she's in like horror movies or something.
Yeah, she is in horror movies.
She's in True Blood too. I didn't like her in that either.
I can understand not liking it then.
Yeah. Well, you have bad taste.
No, it's such a bad show. Anyway, moving on from that.
You're a bad show.
But you didn't care about the lesbian couple? I don't remember their names.
Couple. The cousin that's rich of Mon Mothma? Is that one of the lesbians?
Or I don't know. Is it a cousin?
The blonde girl that's leading the thing and her
Nope, not really.
Girlfriend. See, I didn't really mind them, but I don't know exactly. Like, she added something to it because she obviously added that connection to her cousin, sister, whatever she is. Her girlfriend didn't really add too much. I know that she got put on the other planet and then she stabbed that one guy.
I'm going to give half value and make one more character between the one that did the heist with them that betrayed them, which didn't fit his character at all.
Who betrayed them?
Well,
the guy that said we can split.
Yeah, we can split it.
Oh, that one
didn't make sense at all. All of a sudden, he's like, "I'm a bad guy now. We should kill that."
He kind of explained it a little bit.
It was stupid.
I'm saying he explained it. I'm saying I agree. It was stupid. It didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
They tried to explain it.
If you combine his character for the first half of his storyline and the guy who was really smart, who was like really bought into the rebellion, that got crushed.
Oh,
because both of them had parts that I really enjoyed. So they together make one more character that I kind of liked.
I will also say, too, he's like, we should stick to the plan. And then, or she's like, let's stick to the plan. And then he's like, we have a contingency. Let's go see the doctor. So he's trying to save that kid.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm taking the money.
Right.
So I agree. That didn't make any sense.
Yeah. He's like, we got to save this kid. We have a doctor. They get there like, hey, we should leave these people. But they don't have money for the doctor. Oh, screw them. Like, let's go.
Yeah. That didn't
made
really
no sense.
fit too much.
But yeah, Mon Mothma was cool.
Maybe he wanted to play off that he was the good guy, so nobody would suspect them until they got to safety.
If they would have dropped the ship off at the regular place, he wouldn't have had a chance to steal the money.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So he's like, go see the doctor, because if you make a detour,
you have the chance, right?
Yeah, I just don't think it made.
Yeah, I don't think it fit for what his character was during.
It was a very weird loophole that was closed quickly.
It felt like they were like,
well, let's take the money. Shoots him. Well, okay.
It felt like they were building his character up for something else, and then they were like, shoot, the budget's a little tight. We got to kill off some of these actors.
I don't think it was that. It was just like, what do we do with these characters? How many of these characters do we have them go off on their own? It's just easier to kill him.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't need this spinoff right now.
Bad.
Let's just murder him. I did like the doctor, though. The four-handed doctor that was trying to fix the kid.
Yeah.
Yep, thought that was kind of cool. I did really like the kid, so that part sucked. I actually, when that happened,
the doctor,
I went, oh shit.
Is the doctor the same race as the
girl from episode 7?
What?
No? Okay, who are you thinking of?
The one that shows Obi-Wan the Camino saber dart. The really big one in the little coffee shop.
I have no idea.
Rex, I think is his name.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Rex, or yeah. I don't know, maybe. That one was a lot fatter, if that's the case.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, I mean...
What?
There are people in our race that are skinnier or fatter.
Oh, really? You're blowing my mind.
All right, so what did we think about... I know Corey didn't see it because he's a bitch, but what did we think about the ending? I know you didn't see the after-credit scene, but what did you think about the ending, the fight?
What? I didn't watch the whole thing. Still not a bitch.
Well, that's the after-credit scenes. People can miss that. But if you get to the end where you have the riot, you have them getting away, and then he goes on Luthen's ship and
meets him there.
Right. Yeah, and kind of like ambushes him a bit. What did we think about that being the ending to set up, obviously, what's going to be a season 2?
That that part, like, is exactly how I thought it was going to end. Like, somehow he's gonna join them, and clearly they set up where Luthen either has to have him join the rebels or kill him, and we obviously know he doesn't die because he's in Rogue One.
Right.
So it's like one of those things like, well, they didn't kill him, so clearly he joined them.
Right. So I'm glad that I talked to you about it here during the podcast, because I was thinking, when I heard that phrase, I wasn't thinking, let me join the rebel or kill me. I was thinking more, turn me into
The authorities.
Empire.
It was take me in, like, take me into
the rebel. Let's start this
Right.
thing. Let's light this
take me
candle.
into the underbelly.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at that now, with hearing that, I do like that ending.
Right.
It sets up perfectly for where.
And that's exactly,
Even
like
if
I
it
said,
ended-
like that.
if it
he
ended right now-
knew that that's how it was going to end. He's like, either you're going to have to kill me, or I'm going to join your forces. Like, one or the other. Like, you came here to kill me. Obviously, that's
Right.
why you're here. So
to
you either
make sure
either
there's
you
no
do
loose
it,
ends.
or we're going to do this together.
Right. And technically speaking, if they didn't do a season 2, they will, because of how well received this show was.
Right.
They don't have to. Like, that sets up Rogue One. Knowing, like, I want more information before we get to Rogue One, but it sets up how they met, how they started, and it brought together all these
Like,
characters.
we're only missing one piece, and that's the Imperial security droid.
Sure, yes. But
And
that's
so-
what we'll get.
I kind of liked how they brought in Sol Guerrera, too. He's in Bad Batch a few times. You finally see him in Rogue One at the very end.
Who's this?
Sol Guerrera. Corey, who plays Sol Guerrera? He's a well-known actor.
God, what is his name?
Is it what's
Forrest
his face with
Whitaker.
The,
Forrest Whitaker,
him.
yeah.
Well, yeah, you see him in Rogue One. He's
Yeah.
in
He's Saw
He's
Gerrera.
in
Saw
the,
Guerrera.
He's in the games.
What'd you
too,
call him?
right?
Sal?
Sol.
Saw.
Saw.
Yeah, SAW. Yeah.
Saw Guerrera.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Forrest Whitaker, yeah, he's in it, but yeah, he was in Rogue One.
Well, you see him in Bad Batch too. He is one of the
Well, he's
missions
in
that the Bad
Rebels,
Batch
too.
are supposed to kill, and they choose not to, and that's actually like how the Bad Batch turns away from the Empire.
Okay,
So
but yeah, I thought he was fine in it, and the interaction between him and Luthen, where they were trying to determine, do we let our people die and get captured so that they don't know about this well-known person
right, and
inside the Empire?
I think it's a kind of cool, like, scene because you see instead of it being a rebel alliance, well, you see it as a rebel alliance. Like, it's not like the United States where you have like one central government. You know, it's like you have factions that are doing like the groundwork. Like, you have Saw Gerrera and his.
There is a real rebel alliance, right? So they're all doing their kind of individual things.
It is a rebel alliance, though. It's an alliance of all these different factions working together against the Empire,
But they aren't, right? I thought that's what Luthen is trying to get to by doing this stuff, is to then get them all to work together, which is then why he comes
trying to light the fire so everybody unites, opposed to being individual factions.
Correct. At least that's how I
right.
I
It
interpreted
is. Well, so this is like the very young.
Yes.
Well, that's in Rebels. You see Saw Gerrera be like, he just wants to constantly. He cares more about damaging the Empire than helping people. And the rebel, like the main rebel alliance, is at like odds with him all the time because they're like trying to work together with him, but they want him to focus on helping people escape the Empire's rule.
He's also been like it's mentioned a couple times as being like an extremist.
Yeah,
too.
he's
so
basically
a
a terrorist.
Terrorist.
Yeah,
right.
he's a terrorist.
So a lot of the
freedom
factions don't. Yeah. They don't want to work with him because they don't want that like stigma of like, hey, if you need something blown up or whatnot, like, yeah, this is the person that we need to go to, but we really don't want to.
But,
same way with kind of seeing Mon Mothma work with like the crime boss or whatever of that the banker. It's cool to see like how did the rebels actually get funded? Because I mean, they end up with a whole fleet of ships. Like clearly they get money from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to see, like, how that actually transpired.
Yep. Yeah, it gives you a lot of background. It's background that I don't think any of us actually, quote-unquote, needed, but
I
it's
wanna-
great to have.
I really want to know
that.
how Mon Mothma went from like a relatively attractive senator to like a 60s hipster. Have you seen her in like obviously you have, but in the movies?
Yes.
She's got like a bobbed haircut. So weird.
Well, she kind of has a bob haircut in this one.
Not really though.
It's short.
She seems like she is like has a lot more fashion sense. And then she becomes like a monk.
Well, I think part of it is right now her fashion sense is also trying to throw everyone off for what she's doing. She's trying to act like a spoiled rich girl, just like she wants her sister or cousin or whatever she is to do too. So that it's like Batman, you're playing a character so that you can then go run on the streets as a vigilante.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my one thing. Oh, I'll say my one thing, but her character is interesting, but it doesn't feel like it lines up with like Mon Mothma from A New Hope.
Well, I think she's just developing still into that character.
Yeah.
So right now she's basically trying to just fund the alliance, and then she becomes a leader more as it goes.
Well, it doesn't even sound like she's trying to fund them in the beginning. She's trying to do anything she can to try to help people or lessen the power that the Emperor has. And only after she then learns of what Luthen does, that it was him that did that whole theft thing, that's when she starts to then go, oh shit, this is happening. I guess it's time to get on board fully with it. Because it seemed like she was doing like little pieces. And then Luthen was like, nope, we're going to do the big button and light this candle. And that's when she started going, okay, if this is what's happening, then I need to figure out everything that's going on. At least that's how I interpreted it. And I'm right and you're wrong. So, because I actually watched the show. You'll get there one day.
Apparently not, because you misunderstood some basic things, I guess.
What basic thing? It was at the very end. It's one line.
So
At least I watched the whole
apparently,
thing.
so far, I understood the last
You weren't
episode as
there.
much as you did.
No. Didn't even know about the Death Star being built.
Yeah, it did.
No.
Yeah, it did.
I thought they were probots.
Said it right on it. It's like Death Star Part A, Part B.
Did Part B.
Yeah.
It's a Lego set.
They give you like the freaking IKEA instructions.
That's right.
Insert peg A into peg B. Death Star Laser 1.
When we were building your not treehouse,
swing set,
yeah, and the directions on there that had
we're like put all this stuff together one step.
it was literally like 3 steps, but it was, I don't know, 150 different parts between screws and washers and everything else, and it was just like, you guys got it.
I
Have fun.
loved it reminded me of like in Minority Report when he uses his hands on the screen and it pulls apart the thing. It reminded me like somebody doing the opposite. It's just like all this stuff goes together, jamming.
It's an exploded view.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. And they're like, you'll figure this out, right? You guys got this.
It's like, but I can't even see the backside.
Yeah, and I remember the words
that's the
were
Sam's
written
Club
wrong.
special for you.
Yeah, the words, like, they used the wrong there on one of them. They used...
Oh, it was not written by somebody who spoke English.
Right.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. All right, so with this show, I enjoyed it. I think there'll be definitely a season 2. I'm looking forward to season 2. What did you guys think about the learning more about the Empire's politics, not the Senate stuff, but their own inter-office politics of the different sectors that they're running, and everything that happened there? Do you think that was just filler for the show, or were you interested to see what happened in the background there?
The ISB is kind of an interesting thing. Other than that, I didn't really care about any of this stuff. Only the ISB.
Isn't the ISB what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Are you just talking about that, or are you talking about the guy that we didn't like from the beginning?
No, I don't care about that. He was a security guy. Fuck that guy.
That's like a separate corporate thing, like that does corporate security.
I thought he worked for the Empire, overseeing the corporation on that.
Like I think, if anything, it sounded like they were like a quote-unquote contractor.
Yeah, he worked for like a mercenary kind of.
Well, yeah, I didn't
thing.
care about them at all. And then when they were going over to the planet, like going hoorah and stuff, I was like, these guys are idiots.
They are idiots.
So they're like private contracted mercenaries that probably never get to go on missions like this, so they're probably like, "Oh, this is awesome."
It's going hot, light them up. And they got their
Seriously.
butt kicked
What
in 5
about
seconds. And
the
somebody
Empire?
stole their
It's
shit.
like got a bunch of people from Alabama out there that haven't taken their AR-15 out yet.
I didn't mind the Empire part. I liked the guy who was in charge of like that ISB group. He was kind of an interesting character.
Yep.
That's
I would
about
agree with
the
that.
extent. I mean, there really wasn't that much to.
Well, there's
sink my
her.
teeth
She's
into.
like a main character in this show.
The leader
she's
is
alright.
also he's from Game of Thrones.
He's
As the
Qyburn.
Doctor.
Qyburn.
Qyburn, yeah.
The
Qyburn.
head
Qyburn.
Yeah, he's trying to think of what his title is, fuckface.
He was
Grand
the,
Maester.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
becomes the Grand Maester after they take out the other guy.
Yeah. Qyburn.
Fuck off. So, what about you, Mike? What did you think about the inter-office dealing, so to speak, with the Empire and learning more about that?
See, that's what I like about Star Wars the most is like learning more of the like interworkings of like underneath the storyline, like all the different things that happen in the background. Like that the Senate is like when you think about Star Wars, you're like, oh, the Emperor is the Empire and nothing else. Like what he says goes, but he also still has a Senate that are still ruling their own planets. Granted, it's underneath like Empire's thumb, and I mean whatever the Emperor says for them to do is done. But they still govern their own planet separately
For now.
with senators.
For now.
Well, the whole time.
No, the
Well,
Emperor himself is basically waiting
lot-
to the point where they have the Death Star, and then
Well,
the Senate
and
is
a lot-
basically not matter.
A lot of these planets already have imperial presence to the point where the imperial governors are running the planets, not the natives to that planet.
Right. But you still have like quasi politics going on Coruscant the whole time.
Yeah,
And then you still have people that have the balls to say anything against the Empire. Like Mon Mothma speaking up. I mean, obviously she didn't know at the time, and looking back on it, I feel like if there is a season 2, that'll probably come back to bite. Like you'll see where she is going to be put into exile. Because obviously she goes on to Home 1 or whatever it is, and she goes around with the fleet and probably is no longer welcome on Coruscant.
I was going to say, there's at a certain point she has to fear for her life and then bails.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I was interested by that for most of that stuff just to see, but I hated that again. They kept that mercenary security guy. His story was awful. Them mixing it with her story, I thought was.
I was really kind of hoping that you would see the Mon Calamari at least meet him at some point.
Meet who? Andor?
No.
That we would meet
Mon
him as the
Mothma, that you would see some sort of
Oh.
interaction with him.
Like Akbar or somebody?
Akbar, yeah, Admiral Akbar. Because obviously
That's a
he's the admiral of their whole fleet. Like
Well,
he's
I mean, we're
probably a
still only
well,
pivotal point.
eventually he is.
well, true. Like, but you don't even see them have any interactions with the Mon Calamari at all, and that most of their fleet is Mon Calamari ships, like the big ones.
Well,
Yeah.
what
I think
interactions
it's
do you
early.
really see
I
her
think this is
have?
before they get to that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd think that I was kind of hoping that you'd see like early dealings, like
I think
a
this is
handshake.
even earlier than that.
Yeah, this is because I think at this point, looking
well,
at
it can't be too early because Andor is alive,
Yeah.
and at some point,
Then he's not.
right? But he doesn't age very much between now and Rebels, and Rebels are not Rogue One, and Rogue One literally happens right when A New Hope
Well,
happens.
Rogue One starts like I think it's 2 weeks before New Hope begins.
The end literally goes
Yes,
right into.
The end. I said the beginning of Rogue One. It's like a 2-week.
dude, you got to remember, there's
thing.
plenty of time for lots of Bothans to die getting that information.
That's true.
So,
I know, but like Andor.
it said many
All right,
Bothans
so is
died,
your
not like
issue
5
the fact
in a
that
week.
he looks roughly the same now as he does in Rogue One? Because it's Disney. They'll de-age him if they need to.
I know, but you got to think that he's at a similar age. Like there's probably less than a 10-year
But
difference.
how long do you think this show lasted for? Like in the Star Wars timeline, how much time do you think passed?
Between
The first
Rogue
episode
One
and the last.
and
Nope.
Andor?
No, Andor, first episode to the last episode. Those 12 episodes. How much time do you think passed in the Star Wars years?
So he's incarcerated for like 30 cycles. So that's
30 days?
no, it's more than that.
I thought cycles are days because that's why it keeps counting down every day where it goes down one because there's a day shift and a night shift.
Yeah, I think it's like months though. I want to say like the whole show takes over like a course of a year.
See, I think it's way less than that. I do because they're talking like if they're talking to that old guy, he's got 24 more cycles. You think they needed 24 more months? They were trying to egg him on so he could try to survive for 24 more months?
I think they're not there for like, well, no, obviously it's not 30 months, but I think it's like quite a while. I think he's incarcerated for like 6 months.
He's incarcerated for 6 years. But like, or his sentence is 6 years, I should say.
Right. But when he goes into the jail and when he gets out is like 6 months.
See, I don't even know if it's that long.
Look it up.
I mean,
Okay, so 9 BBY before Battle of Yavin is when Reva and it's when Obi-Wan this series happens. This is happening. Cassian Andor kills 2 security officers during 5 BBY. Then
it's 5 years before the events of Rogue One.
Correct.
Right. So you're saying that in 5 years,
that's a long time.
They not only meet the Mon Calamari, but they build an entire fleet.
Yes.
But it takes 20 years to build the Death Star.
I don't know if we...
They're building the Death Star during the Battle of Geonosis.
I don't know.
Well, to give you an idea, the entire Revolutionary War took 7 years. And that was sailing across the ocean with troops from England. Not having spaceships that can go with speed of light. So, I mean, 5 years just to get to the point of the first Death Star
I'm just saying, like, I feel like there should have been... I feel like there should have been more interaction with...
You just wanted to see Admiral Akbar.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see Admiral Akbar or any interaction with the Mon Calamari because they're relatively important in the actual Rebel Alliance.
I think technically at this time period, it's before the battle on Mon Calamari where they try to free themselves of the Empire. And I don't think you're going to see, because remember, for a while they were thinking the Empire wasn't going to be as... They were trying to work with them, and then the Empire overstepped its hand, and then they fought back and went underwater.
Isn't that in...
Rebels?
Yeah.
So you see that in Rebels, yeah. And the Corrin join with the Mon Calamari to fight back.
Right, the squid face. Yeah. The other faction.
But I mean, that hasn't even happened yet. That's probably why you haven't seen him, because right now, Mon Calamari is, okay with the Empire. It's tense, but they're not fighting them.
Right,
yet.
They're neutral.
Yeah. Because the prince there that will be king.
Just saying, 5 years, they're cutting themselves short.
So yeah. I have a question. The senator's daughter at the very end, which Corey doesn't see, but it's implied anyway, is introduced to the
pirate. Well, it's not a pirate. I don't know what he is.
He's a banker.
Yeah, well, he's not really.
He's a banker.
He's a money launderer.
Yes, there we go. That's a good one. They're introduced the daughter to the son.
Okay.
Is that relevant to something that I don't know about?
What's the son's name?
Introduced to Davo Sculdin?
Never heard. Well,
Sir Davos?
No.
Spell his last name.
Sculdun, which is the name of that guy anyway.
No. It's not relevant to me. I've never heard that name before.
I didn't know if that
might be the beginning of the Crimson Sun.
I got nothing.
The
Crimson
Sun's already existing. Because Han Solo, Crimson Sun existed while Han Solo was still young, and this is happening after Han Solo freed Chewbacca.
That's also at the same time. It's 5 BB. Okay, so not the beginning of the Crimson Sun.
You know what's weird to think about is
that banker might be of the Crimson Sun.
Han Solo was a full-on adult when Leia's being saved by Obi-Wan. Dude, he's a cradle robber. I knew that, but I never really think about it.
He's like 35 in the movie. Like
And-
the character he's portraying is like 35.
And what's Leia?
And she's
18?
like 18.
Yeah.
Same age as Luke. Yeah, that's
20.
You
that's
dog, you.
Yeah, right?
To be fair, that's basically Harrison
It's Harrison Ford,
anyway,
yeah. He's like, I know how to act like this.
Well, he hooked up with Carrie Fisher in the
I mean,
movies.
didn't everybody?
Yeah.
Hook up with Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher?
Well, one, both, but Carrie Fisher.
I don't know.
She did a lot of drugs and slept with a lot of people.
Well, you know, when the force is
Well,
with
Mark
you.
Mark Hamill says that they didn't actually hook up, but they were like close
Well,
friends.
Carrie Fisher said they did. I guess she could be lying.
Or he was just on drugs, too.
Well, she's dead now, though,
She
so
is
we won't
dead.
know. Harrison Ford, I think, even admitted it
What?
because
that
it was
they-
in
oh,
her
yeah.
memoir.
They almost 100% did.
I think he was asked about it. He's like, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
Those are crazy times, man. We're
I
all
mean,
in
they
space.
basically became
My best friend's a dog.
one of the most famous actors alive during that time period because of how big these movies were.
well,
So you
Indiana
get
Jones
money?
first, but yeah.
Well, not her. I'm saying all of them, like him.
Oh, well, you said him. so-
Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher really didn't do anything after.
Yeah, I was
that,
going to
though.
say, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill didn't do much after.
I'm not talking about after. I'm talking about during these movies where they're super popular. Everybody loves them. They've got a lot of money. They got a lot of drugs. Of course, they're gonna bang everybody.
I guess.
Why, of
I mean,
course.
That's what happened.
Look, if you have a lot of money and you're famous, doesn't mean you have to be a whore.
I mean, how do you think?
Public service announcement. You don't have to be a whore, no matter how much KJ says you do.
I think you do. It's in the cards.
I don't?
All right. So season 2, yes, is already confirmed. It's supposed to have 12
I
episodes.
think they confirmed it like before it even came out.
I'm looking at it right now. It's
They-
confirmed.
I understand. I'm just saying. I
think
think
they
it's been
greenlit
confirmed for a
both
while.
seasons at the same
Yeah.
time.
I think they did that with this, and I think they definitely did it with Lord of the Rings. But
They
what?
definitely
mocking
do
you.
Lord of the Rings. Ugh.
I wasn't insulting.
So
I just meant to. Actually
we're not going to get it until late 2024. So it's going to be 2
no.
years.
So
For Andor,
Season
Two?
2. Yeah.
Who cares?
I mean, Mike and I do.
That's not true. Mike cares more that Ahsoka's coming out than he does that this will have to wait till 2024.
Well, the only
That's
thing
true.
good about it coming out in 2024 is there's other stuff.
I'm
coming
more
out.
excited.
Yeah.
Again, I don't give a shit about Ahsoka, to be honest with you. I
Oh.
care about seeing
Ezra?
Thrawn and Ezra Bridger. Yeah.
Well, right, but that's why
literally
you're
the only
excited.
reason I want to watch this thing. Is like, are they bringing back Ezra Bridger? Are we going to see non-cinematic Thrawn? Or are we going to see human Thrawn? Whatever you want to call him. Live action Thrawn.
Oh, live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope he's better in live action Cad Bane.
I didn't mind live
Oh.
action Cad Bane.
Dude, that costume.
The
work
costume
was,
was
bad.
weird.
Yeah,
I
it
Didn't
was
we
admit
talk
that,
about this
but
when we watched?
we did.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that was one of your main complaints, and I remember you saying you liked it, but the costume was bad.
No, the
Well,
costume
yeah,
was
that-
bad,
That's
but
my only beef with it. It just
but the
looked bad.
flip side of that is like, look at him compared to how he's drawn in, what is it, Rebels, or
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
they
Similar.
look exactly the same.
Sure.
Like,
but,
what do you expect though?
well, that,
Like, other than him being CGI, which I think would have been worse.
I expected the makeup to look better because it looked like he was wearing like a paper mache.
He's
head.
fucking green.
He's blue. First off,
Okay, whatever.
Those are two different colors, Mike. Are we colorblind?
dude.
I am
Sometimes I
colorblind,
go
actually.
outside
Are you
and I
actually
go.
colorblind?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
No, you're not.
I am.
What?
Dude, I'm telling you, I am.
So you don't actually know. You're saying, dude, I'm telling you, or you actually
No, I
have
am.
a
If I-
diagnosis?
I have been told I'm colorblind. If I see two
You've
colors
probably
that
been
are,
told you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're stupid.
if you're colorblind, you don't fucking know because you've never seen it.
Yo, but you can go to a doctor like an eye doctor who will tell you you're colorblind.
Yes, and they say if you see two colors, tell me the difference between the two, and I'm like, they're the same thing.
so
like the
a
meme.
doctor has told you.
Yes.
Okay. He's
KJ
colorblind.
disagrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you said somebody told me. You didn't say a doctor. If-
Okay.
If I tell you you're colorblind, or if I tell you you're
A
stupid,
doctor has told me that I'm colorblind, and also that one of my testicles is slightly enlarged compared to
was
the
it
other
the same
one.
doctor? Because that's a little weird.
Yeah, they check out all my balls at the same time. Eyeballs,
Balls,
regular balls.
He did a lot of the anal work too. You got a
hate
nice
that
little asshole too, Mike.
All right, so let's wrap this thing up.
Practices in the back alley. I don't know. It's weird.
Let's wrap this up. Shut up, Corey. All right, Mike. Final
what the
thoughts,
doctor said.
Andor.
I hate both of you. That's my final thoughts.
You hate us, but you love us.
No, you guys are both get a not good minus.
All right, but do you have final thoughts on Andor, or should I just move on from you?
It was a 7.
7? 7 sounds about right for me.
The Andor storyline I didn't care about. That was like a 5. The background storyline was like an 8.
Did the Andor story, similar to both Corey and I, get better when he got to like the prison? Like, I loved his story there.
Yeah, it got better, but again, like Corey said, like it could have been any other character and it would have been the same.
The same. Okay.
But the background filler stuff made the show.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't know how many shows can say that, where like the extra stuff that's going on in the background is potentially more interesting than him. Now,
but it's the same way with like Rogue One, though. Like he's not
the main character, though.
No,
He's the second supporting
right.
character.
And I didn't care too much about him in that. Like he progressed the story, but it's the same way with like Jyn Erso. I didn't care about her as a character, but I feel like that kind of storyline is made so you don't, because she dies.
Yeah.
So you don't they don't make you get emotionally attached and invested into a character.
What's that volcano that erupted over
Pompeii?
Yes. So they did a movie, Pompeii, where they did the opposite of that. They're trying to make
Harington.
and they try to make you invest in the characters,
Because
and then they just die, and you're just like, what the fuck? So I agree with you. Like,
Well, if
the
you
way
didn't
they did
know
the
they
movie,
were gonna die, then you're.
What do you mean? Which one? In both? Either?
In Pompeii?
Sure. But my point, I knew how it was going to end, but they're still trying to get you to care about these characters rather than care about the story.
Yeah.
In Rogue One, I feel like it was all about the story, and you have the characters, and they all know they're going to die.
You had to have it focus on the characters because the story is literally a volcano erupts and everybody dies.
I know, but
there's not much of a story there.
But that's what made the ending lackluster, because you know what's going to happen.
That's every volcano movie.
I know.
Well, no, you can get away.
Dante's Peak.
Yeah.
They get away, but that's the story.
Yeah, but it usually
volcano erupts.
Best volcano movie is Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones.
I like that one too. Yeah,
it's the best one.
Yeah.
I still think Dante's Peak is better though.
Disagree.
You're wrong.
All right.
All right, Corey, what did you think Andor was?
I think.
I wait. Does he even get to give a score without finishing it?
He gets to give 97% of his score.
I don't even know if he finished 97%. You only finished 99%.
No. If you talk about like in terms of minutes watched, I guarantee like the after credit scene is not 15 minutes long.
No, it's like a minute and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think, Corey?
Am I allowed to have an opinion?
I guess.
Okay.
We're gonna give you this bone.
You have to.
What I mean?
I'm gonna give it a 6, and the 6 is only because it was Star Wars, and they introduced some okay characters that I liked, but to your point, Mike. It could follow any character, and you were like, it's the background stuff that was more interesting. The reason they can get away with that is it's Star Wars. It doesn't even matter who the main character is, as long as you get to see the cool background stuff.
But the background stuff is also part of the story. It's not just background stuff to be background stuff, where it's filler for what's going on with Andor. Even though I don't feel like the show should be.
It definitely was.
Sure. But I don't feel like this show should even be called Andor.
No, it shouldn't.
Okay.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, and it's nothing against him. It's just I care about everything going on.
But
I don't want to you are not the singular character.
He is though. Like that is
it should be called
centralized
Luthen.
around him.
It should be called Luthen. It's centralized around him.
He's not in the prison.
It should be called Spark of the Rebellion, and it should just be a story about how the rebellion was formulated.
That's not a bad name.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Did you actually come up with that, or is that like a comic or another book somewhere?
No, I mean,
it's gotta be a book.
It's not a book. It's 100%.
100%
I came up with that, but they also say that in Star Wars all the time. They're waiting for the spark to ignite the rebellion. It's not like I came up with the thought of calling it Spark.
Yeah, but I didn't know because there are other books that...
No, there's not a book to my knowledge called Spark of the Rebellion.
There probably is.
Yeah.
Probably is.
Timothy Zahn.
But that would have been a great name, or at least a good tagline, like Andor, Spark of the Rebellion.
Or not Andor, but yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think it had to be
Luthen.
Andor.
I feel like we're going to have this same conversation when we see Ahsoka, and it's mainly...
Wrong.
It's mainly
They've already confirmed Ezra and what's his face are in it. I'm going to be talking about how excited I am to see them.
when.
What do you mean when?
When did they confirm that
Thrawn are in
Thrawn
it?
is going to be in it?
That's what she's doing. She's searching for Ezra. and
Searching
Thrawn.
for, but there's no. You don't see them.
So they're going to make a series about her searching for somebody we never see. It might end, to be fair, we might not see them a lot in the first season. It might end with her finding them at the very end. And then the second season will be the one that's better.
So for me, I'm in line with Mike. I think it's a 7. I enjoyed it. The background stuff was more interesting about what was going on than
There's also a
Andor
lot of.
himself.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. There's a lot of.
I'm sure.
I did mean it that time. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs.
Actually,
and stuff
you know,
in it too. Like when you're inside the antiquities shop, there's like a suit of old Mandalorian armor. There's like a lot of like cool like little things that are Star Wars-esque that if you don't know anything about their background, you'll just see them and pass them by.
I wouldn't have even, like, most TV shows or movies have like Easter egg type things like that, things that you could spot if you're a giant fan.
Right.
And I like Star Wars. I'm not as giant fan as you guys. You guys know a shit ton of names of people that you just rattle off. Like, he mentioned a random ass character that could be related to this character in this, or of the same species, and you somehow knew it, Corey, or roughly knew it.
I'm really
ridiculous.
cool.
You are a giant nerd. I agree. But seeing that
Guess they don't
stuff,
like
like
wrestling.
most of it just right over my head. I just was enjoying the story part of it, not the extra stuff.
Right.
But I know, like, with Marvel, when they do that, usually I can pick up on a bunch of those things,
Yeah,
the references.
Their shows, I would say their shows, but lately, a lot of the Star Wars stuff has done a lot of that. Like when in Solo, when they're up in the ship, the Red Sun ship, a lot of the antiquities like inside his ship are also like from all over the Star Wars universe. There's another it's always Mandalorian shit because that's what people pick up on, but there's another Mandalorian suit of armor. There's what looks like a Sith holocron, like the triangle thing that's up in. Pretty cool stuff.
Real quick too, is there a reason to have a stormtrooper armor when they don't do anything? There was people headbutting in this last episode, the stormtroopers who have armor on. What's the point of wearing the armor?
The armor is lightweight and
it's
to stop
environmental
laser
armor.
blasts.
It doesn't stop laser blasts.
No, they get shot all the time and die.
Yeah, it specifically says that it's environmental. It's for gas.
It's only for
and-
when they set it to stun. So
Like they have a breathing apparatus because not all the planets that they go to are friendly to like humanoid life
Yeah,
forms.
can have oxygen, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of that, you just said it and I was thinking about it and we weren't even going to talk about it. This show was mostly humanoid. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing when you're talking about the entire galaxy. Oh, it's mostly humanoid.
I mean,
in
that's
this show.
most of the time what Star Wars is anyway, and Star Trek.
What? Really?
I mean,
Like,
do I need to bring up the
not
reason
Star
one of
Trek,
the
those
reasons
are-
I like the Orville?
Sure,
Again?
because there's a lot of but I think of like episode 1, we had other
Like what?
species for a bit. Well, you had what's his face who had the slaves of Anakin, the guy with the nose with the wings.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Watto.
yeah. So you got the people that in episode 2 or 3 that were holding Anakin's mom hostage. Were
They may
sand
have-
people, or-
The Sand People.
Yeah.
I mean, they're humanoid.
Are they?
I mean, do they have arms and legs? They're just wearing cloaks.
Yeah, but I thought they were an alien.
Well, they are, but
All-
what do you mean when you say humanoid?
Like
Like
us?
us?
No. I'm saying in this show it's mostly humans.
Oh, sure, yeah, but humanoid usually means somebody who's bipedal and they have
Sure.
arms, yeah.
Okay, in this case, I'm meaning just humans. Like,
Oh,
I would
so,
say
yeah.
90+% of this show is just humans.
Well,
Okay.
If not more.
the
It's probably
base
for
planet
budget.
that they're on is a human planet. The planet that he goes to when he is arrested is like a human planet. Coruscant has a shit ton of humans, but even when you're on Coruscant, you see a lot of.
Well,
that are
you also have
different
to remember
aliens.
the Empire is like anti-alien, so
Oh,
They-
are they?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
pretty racist.
yeah, they're very racist.
So Mike's joining the Empire. I got it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Slave
Slaves,
labor.
yeah, whatever.
It's just
it's
just,
practical.
It's just for the budget, guys.
What is
I
that?
love us.
Family Guy?
What?
You don't make the budget, Terry.
yeah.
You pay by the laser.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
the
make
one
the
about the
budget,
railing.
okay? Slaves
railing's
over
good.
The
robots.
railing one is
Get
the real
this. I asked to get a railing in. They said they'd be worried we'd be leaning all day. Oh, well, when we start our band, we'll be gone. Love it.
No, the real reason, now we know, the real reason they didn't have the railing is because there was the revolt on the planet and they didn't build it.
That's right. That's what happened.
They didn't have enough
True.
slave labor to
No
build
slave
the
labor.
railing.
And
All
they
'cause
couldn't do
of
droids.
Andor.
Yep. He
Fucking
did
Andor.
everything.
Now people can't relax and lean because of that.
All right. So, any final thoughts? Are we good? We good? We wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So I have 7, 6. That's
5. That's just
Oh, you
mine.
bitch. All right. So next week is going to be Rick and Morty. We're going to be talking about what season was that? 6 that just
6.
ended. So we're going to be talking about the 6 seasons of that show. Hopefully, what's coming next with it. How it basically came out of nowhere.